Hi students, welcome to today's class on Python programming. So in our earlier class, we have discussed about introduction to Python and how to download and install Python environment into your computer. Also, we discussed about the essential features of a Python programming language and the major application areas related to Python. Okay, so today we will continue our class uh, by discussing some basics of Python language, which are required to write simple programs in Python. Okay, so today's topic in our class is basics of Python language. So let us start with the first topic: how to display messages onto the screen. So this is our first topic. In C language, we know that to print something onto the screen, the monitor, we will use the function printf. Okay, so whereas in Python, the function that we are going to use for displaying output onto the screen is print function. Okay, so there is no f here. Print function we will use, and the syntax of print function is like this: print of a list of objects, comma, separator is equals to, you can specify any delimiter to separate the objects mentioned here, because either you can mention a single object or you can mention multiple objects here. If you mention a single object, then there will be no separator required. If you have multiple objects, then you need to separate them with some delimiter. You can mention it here. Okay, by default the separator is going to be space. Okay, and the third parameter is end is equals to, you can mention uh, how to separate the uh, print objects, that is after printing the first line of messages onto the screen, so how to separate the next one. Okay, so by default the end is going to be slash n. That means the next printf statement will be displayed in second line. Okay, so you can use other delimiters also with the end is equal to slash n. And the fourth parameter is file is equal to sys dot standard out. This is the default parameter you can mention. If you do not mention this file is equal to, then it will be taken as the sys dot std out. That is the meaning of default value. You can mention any other file name explicitly to write the contents into the file. So sys dot standard out means that the output device that is connected to your uh, particular system in which you are running your Python. Okay, so sys dot standard out refers to the monitor. Okay, the output screen. You can mention any valid output device here if you know the corresponding. For example, if you want to write the contents to a file, you can mention the file name, example1.txt, something like that. Okay, and the last parameter is flash is equals to, by default the default value of flash is false. The purpose of this flash is if you try to display the objects onto the screen, sometimes it may be buffered. Okay, so if any buffered value is available, then the output that we want to display onto the screen may be disturbed. So it is always better to flash it out. If any output that is buffered into can be flashed by using this flash is equals to true. By default it is false. If you want to flash it, flash the buffers, then use true here. Okay, so this is about the print function. Maybe it looks like a complicated one, but actually it is very simple. The first parameter, this is the first parameter, star objects, that is the object that we want to display is the only compulsory object that you should mention with print, and all the remaining options are going to be optional. Optional means either you specify it or do not specify it. If you specify it, the specified value will be taken. Otherwise, the default values which are specified here, space is default value for separation, /n is the default value for end, sys.stdout is the default value for file, false is the default value for flush. These will be taken if you do not mention any of these values. Okay, so one parameter is a compulsory parameter for this print function, and all the remaining parameters are optional. Okay, now let us go through quickly. Objects means that one or more objects to be printed separated by a space by default. Okay, if you do not mention, it will be taken as a space, and this option sets the corresponding delimiter which is used for separating the objects mentioned here. Okay, if you do not mention it, the default is a space. And the third parameter is the end parameter. The last value after printing the entire objects is mentioned here. By default, it will be taken as /n. You can select other delimiters also. For example, if you want a space, you can use a space here. If you want a tab, then you need to mention it as /t and so on. Okay, there are other delimiters also possible. The fourth parameter is file. Must be an object with right of string method. That is, you can specify where to display these objects. Okay, where to display these objects. By default, it is sys.standardout. That is the output device connected to your computer. You can mention other things also here. The last one is flush. The stream is forcibly flushed if they are already buffered. Okay, so the buffered stream is flushed out with this option if you set it as true here. By default, it is going to be false. That means the buffer will not be flushed out. Okay, so this is the syntax of the print function. Maybe you may not clearly understand what it is exactly happening. You will get a clear idea once you go through some examples now. Okay, so let us see some examples that makes use of this print function. Okay, so in the first example, I'm printing learning Python. This is the first message. So this will display a message onto the screen, the monitor, learning Python. And I'm using a variable here. Name is the variable name. Python does not declare any variables. You can directly use them. So name is equals to, this is a string. Strings can be mentioned either in double quotes or in single quotes also. Both are going to be same. Like in C language, single quotes are meant for specifying the characters, whereas double quotes are used for strings. But in Python, both double quotes and single quotes are used for strings only. Okay, so this will create a variable with the string Satya, and then I am printing a message. My name is comma name. So the output of this particular message is going to be, this will be printed as it is, and this print statement prints my name is followed by this name. So this will be replaced by the name mentioned here. Okay, and look at the second example. The second example is one variable is declared here, name is equals to Jan. Okay, and then print my name is, this is the object we want to display, comma name, that is Jan, comma. So if you observe it, there are two objects now. Okay, one is a string object and the other one is a variable name that will be replaced with the corresponding value of the variable. So my name is John, that will be displayed up to this. And then we are using a separator here, a different separator. By default, the separator is space, but we are using some hyphens here, 3 hyphens. Separator is equals to 3 hyphens. And at the end, I'm using /n. Of course, by default also, it will be taken as /n. Okay. Then it displays the message, my name is, the first object is separated with the second object. by the symbols that you mentioned. So the separator we mentioned is 3 hyphens here. Therefore, the first object is separated with the second object with the specified separator here. And after printing this entire message, end is equal to slash n we set. Therefore, slash n means that the new line, the control is transferred to the next line where the next print message will be displayed. The next print message is I am 18 years old. So it will be displayed here. So my name is hyphen John and I am 18 years old is the message that we are going to get. This is the output. Okay. And here are some examples to understand what are the other data types that we can print with. The first one is printing a string. So print function can be used to print any string like this. Okay. And you can use print function for displaying a value. You can use print function with expressions also. If you send expression, it will be evaluated first and the corresponding result will be printed with the print function. Okay. So the output is 10. Right. And also you can use it with some variables and strings combination. X is equal to 5, print the value of x is comma x. Okay, so while using this combination of string and variables, you need to remember one thing, that the print function should start with a string object only. Then you can merge any number of objects of any type. Okay, so the first category of the print function must be string object if you want to combine multiple objects. Okay, so this is about the print function. Let me show you with the help of the IDLE. I just want to show you the sample programs with the help of IDLE. I'll run through this IDLE now. Okay, so as I told, the print function can print a message directly. So this is a simple way of using print function. And also print function can be used for displaying some values like this. Okay, and also print function can be used to perform the expressions or operations directly. So it performs the operations like this. And if you want to merge the objects into a single print function, okay, so that also I will show you by creating a new file now. Right, let us declare a variable x is equals to some 5 here, and then a print function that merges value of x is comma x. So this will display a message value of x is 5. Okay, so now let us run this program by saving it first. You must save it first in order to run it. So I am just using some 3. File name is 3. It will be created as 3.py, and you can see the output here. It is showing value of x is 5 after running 3.py. So you need to observe this name. The name of the file that I have given is 3, and this .py extension is automatically taken by your Python environment. Okay, so 3.py. So I saved it on desktop directly, but all of you please create a separate folder with some name called as let us say Python programs. Okay, so create a folder and then save every program that you practice into this Python programs folder. Okay, so it is always better to save all the Python programs at one place, something like this. Okay, so you create a folder and on desktop or into any drive, either C drive, D drive, or D drive, or any valid drive in your computer. Then save every program that you are going to execute in that folder only. Use different names, don't use numbers, 1.py, 2.py, 3.py, and so on are not actually a correct way of saving your files. The best way is use a name that represents the corresponding program purpose. Okay, right. So let's go through the remaining topics. Yeah, the print function can also be used with the format method. Okay, so let us understand this format method, which is actually a similar way of using it like a printf function in C language. Okay, so let us understand this format method. What we will do with this format method is we will use a pair of curly braces to mark the index of the variables that we want to display. Okay, so whenever we use this curly braces, the corresponding values that we mention with format function will be replaced at the corresponding position of curly braces. So let us understand this. So print of, let us say this is the string I want to display. I love. I don't know what is to be displayed here, so I will mention it later. And also for it's followed by some value here. And I will mention the values with the dot format of. This is the first value I'm mentioning, and this is the second value I'm mentioning. So the order of the corresponding values is important. They will be substituted in the given order. Okay, if the parentheses do not contain any index, these values mentioned in format method are automatically taken according to the order given over here. Okay, so the message displayed is I love India for its diversity. That means India is replaced over here, diversity is replaced over here. Okay, similarly you can use the indexes also to shuffle these values that you want to display. Let us understand this. I'm using print 0 and 1. This is the string object that I want to specify, and this 0 index means that uh, the values must be taken according to the index from the format method. So the first value in format method takes 0 index, second value in format method takes index 1, and so on. If you have other values also, the index continues like 2, 3, and so on. Okay, so if the first print function is used, because the index is 0 and 1, it displays India and diversity. So actually there must be this and also displayed here. Okay, India and diversity will be the output from this first printf statement. And then look at the second example, print of 1 and 0 dot format of India comma diversity. So we know that the index of this first value is 0, index of the second value is 1, and we are mentioning 1 in parenthesis. That means you want to display the value specified by index 1. That means in this place, this diversity will be displayed. Okay, according to the index, we are selecting diversity here. So first it displays diversity, and the message is and must be displayed here, and here it is 0. The index 0 is representing the string India, so it is displayed here. Okay, so that is how you can use the format function also. It is similar to the printf function in C language, where we specify percentile d percentile f in place of these parentheses. Okay, so you can compare like that. So let us have a look at this format method with our IDLE. Okay, so let me use that print function, print 0 and 1. Okay, dot format of the syntax goes like this. The first parameter of this format function, I want to mention it as India, comma. The second parameter is uh, diversity. Okay. Let me hide this. I will drag this a bit downwards. Okay, so this is uh, the function, and let me close it. Right now I'm saving it, and then I'll try to run this particular program to see the output. As you can see, India and diversity, it is displaying. Okay, now let us change it now. I'll copy the same function, but I will change the indexes. Control C. Okay, so let me change the indexes. First I will give 1, and then I will give 0. Now if you run this program, see, the first print statement is displaying India and diversity. Now it is changed. Diversity and India, it is displaying according to the indexes that we have given. Okay, so that is how you can use this format method with the print function. Okay, right. So this is about print function. The basic operation that you should understand is the print function to display messages onto the screen. Right. The next thing is how to specify the comments in Python program. We all know that comments are used for increasing the readability of the programs, where if you specify the comments, it describes the corresponding purpose of programs. Okay, so we can insert comments as the readable support for the users. Okay, so for example, you can specify the comments in Python by using this hashtag symbol. So whenever you hashtag a particular string, it means it is comment, and it will be ignored by your Python interpreter. Okay, so the another thing is you can write comments anywhere in your program, at the beginning of a statement, at the middle of a statement, or at the end of a statement. You can write comments anywhere. So whenever you start the symbol hashtag, it means the following is going to be a comment. Okay, right. So there are two types of comments that we can write in Python. One is single line comments, and the other one is multi-line comments. Multi-line comments cannot be written directly. We'll do it indirectly. I'll explain it with the help of multi-line strings used as comments. Okay. So for single line comments, we'll use hashtag and write whatever you want to write, followed by that hashtag symbol. Okay. So for example, hashtag program to add two numbers, it is specifying a comma b is equal to 1 comma 3. So it creates two integers here, a and b, and then it is adding a plus b into sum is equal to a plus b. We are specifying the description here, what it is doing. The statement is doing, what we are doing is we are declaring two integers, and then we are adding up two integers, and then we are displaying the output. Like this, you can write the description for every complicated statement in your Python program for improving the understandability of the readers. Okay, so that is the reason why comments are used for a proper documentation purpose, to increase the readability. Okay, and multi-line strings are written with the help of this special delimiter with 3 double quotes, which are also called as triple quotes, like this. Either you can use 3 double quotes or 3 single quotes for displaying a multi-line string like this, for creating a multi-line string like this. So we know that if strings are not assigned to a variable, then they are simply ignored by your Python interpreter. So that is the reason why multi-line strings can be used as a comment. So even though it is a string, it acts as a comment because it will be simply ignored by your interpreter since it is not assigned to any variable. Or if you assign it to any variable, let us say str is equals to, if you write this, then it is not going to be a comment. Please remember that. Okay. So multi-line strings, if they are assigned to a variable, they cannot act as comments. Okay. If you do not assign them to variables, then they will act as comments like this, right? So two ways, single line comments and multi-line strings as comments. If you want to write more comments, then use more hashtags at the beginning of your lines. Okay. So that is the only way of writing the actual comments in Python. The symbol is hashtag. Remember that. Okay. Symbol is hashtag to create comments in your Python language. The next thing is how to read inputs using the input function. So we'll see how this can be done using input function, just like scanf in our Python, sorry, C language. Input function is used for reading inputs from the keyboard. The syntax is simple. Input of the prompt. Prompt is a message that will be displayed to the user, asking him to enter so and so data. Okay, so this is like printf enter a string. It is combined with both printf and scanf. If you can display a message with scanf function in C language, it is similar to input now. Okay, so but that is not possible in C language. Here it is possible. Input of prompt will display this message to the user and is ready to take the values from the keyboard. Okay, where you can assign these values to some variables. Look at this example. Value is equal to input of enter a string. So this will display a message on screen as enter a string. Okay, and once the user enters a string, the string will be copied to this variable on LHS. Then I'm using a print statement, you entered comma val. So this displays whatever value is entered by the user. Okay, and look at the second example. Value is equal to input of please enter an integer. I'm asking. So user enters a integer, let us say 10, but actually, even though it is an integer entered by the user, input function takes everything as a string. That is, even though a user entered 10, it takes the 10 as a string like this. Okay, but we want an integer value, so you need to cast it with the int of. Okay, so when you pass this to the int function, int of, then it removes the corresponding string and converts the string into integer value. Now value contains a number 10. You need to understand the difference between string 10 and the number 10. Any value inside double quotes or single quotes is taken as a string value. Okay, so this is actually a string, but when you write something like this, it is going to be a value, a number. This is a string and this is a number. Okay, so print of value is value and display. Okay, so we need to understand this clearly, this input function, because the basic operation that we will perform with Python programs is reading input and displaying them to the output to the user. So both input and output functions must be clearly understood. Okay, so let us understand this with our IDLE now. Okay, right. So now I just want to use input function for reading values. So let us say I'm using this int of input of enter a number. Okay. Because user enters a number which will be taken as a string, I just want to convert it into a integer. So I will simply convert it using int function, int of x. Now it is a number, and then I will display the value value is, okay, comma x. So save it and run it. For running it, you can simply press F5. Okay, so by running, see the message, it is asking enter a number. So I will enter some number 18. The value is 18, it is displaying. Okay, so this is how you can run it. And this statement, this statement x is equal to int of x can be combined directly into this input statement itself. You can write int of here itself, int of input of enter a number. Okay, so don't need to write it separately. And even if you run this program, you will get the same output. It is asking enter a number. This time I will enter 19. Value is 19. It is saying. Okay, so you can write like this. So when you write int of input of, don't forget to close it with two parentheses like this. Okay. And also let me use a simple operation of addition operation. I'll see how it can be done now. I'm just copying and pasting it here. So let us take it y is equal to int of input of enter a number, and then perform an operation sum is equals to x plus y. Okay, and I'll display the message result is, and it is available in sum. So I'll display it like this. So save it and run it. It is asking a number, the first number. So I will enter 13. Again, it is asking enter a number. So I will enter 12 and the result is 25, it is showing. Okay, so like this, you can practice reading and performing operations and then displaying the output. Okay. So that is about input function, which reads input values from the keyboard. And the next topic is Python variables. So we know that generally variable is nothing but a name which refers to a memory location which we create in our program. Okay, and in Python, the first thing you need to understand is you don't need to declare a variable to use it in your program. Okay, you can directly use the variables as part of your program whenever they are required in the program. So declaration is not required, just like the confusion will be in C program. You need to declare every variable that you want to use in your C language. But in Python, you don't need to declare any variable as part of your Python. Then what happens is based on the value you assign to the variable, the type of the variable will be automatically selected dynamically by your Python interpreter. Okay, so that is how it works. Okay, but then to use these variables as part of your Python programs, you must understand the naming rules that should be used while creating the variable names. Okay, so these names, these naming rules are same as C language naming rules. So there is no difference between the naming rules. In any language, the rules are going to be same. Okay, the rule says that the first rule is the first character of the variable must be either an alphabet or an underscore. That means when you create a variable, the first character of the variable name should be either an alphabet, that is a lowercase alphabet or a uppercase alphabet, or you can use an underscore as the first character. Except this, you cannot use any other character as part of your the first character of variable name. And all the remaining characters except the first character may be either alphabets of lowercase or uppercase, okay, or underscore or digits. So these are possible. You cannot use any other symbol other than this. Okay. The name should not contain white spaces, that is space you should not use as part of the variable names. You cannot use special characters. Only special character used that is allowed is underscore only. Okay. Except this special character, no other special character is allowed in Python variable names. Okay. And you cannot use the Python name identifier name which is similar to the keywords. So we'll have a look at the list of keywords in Python later. And of course, it is not always possible to list out all the keywords used in Python at one place because the list is very a big number. Okay, so as we proceed with learning Python language, I will explain the keywords one by one. Okay, so the rule here is any keyword, a valid keyword in Python language, should not be used as a variable name here. Okay, and then identifier names are case sensitive, which means that the capital letters are different from small letters. Okay, for example, if you use a variable something like this, my name with two capital letters M and N, this is not same as the small letters my name. Okay, so if you create a variable by using small letters, these two are different. So that Python is case sensitive, please remember that. Okay, uppercase letters are different from lowercase letters. And here are some examples of valid identifiers. This is a valid identifier because it starts with an alphabet and the remaining characters are digits. Yes, it is valid. This starts with an underscore, it is valid, followed by an alphabet, valid. Starts with a alphabet, followed by underscore and digit, yes, valid. Okay, these are all valid strings, valid identifiers. And this is not valid because it started with a number. And this is not valid since it is using a special character other than underscore. This is not valid since it is using a space here. Okay, and so on. These are invalid identifiers. You cannot create names like this. The names are these only. These are the valid names. Okay, so any name that follows these naming rules is a valid name in Python. Okay, so these rules are similar. There is no change in the rules compared with the naming rules used in C language also. So this is the same topic. You can refer to that C language naming rules also. Okay. And then how do you create and assign values to the variables? So as we saw earlier, we saw some example programs also. You need to use assignment operator. This is called assigns to operator, and use a variable. X is a variable, and assign a value like this. Then what will happen is 20 will be created in memory. A memory location is created, and the 20 is assigned, is created as an integer object. It is an integer object, and then because x is equal to 20, you are saying x points to this object. See, you need to understand it. 20 is an object, integer object. X is a reference point into this memory location. Okay, so why I'm saying this is, if you create for example, if you write y is equal to 20 as part of the same program, then what will happen is this 20 is already created and available in your program, so it will not be created again. One object is created for every value, and y is equal to 20 will make that reference y points to this same object 20. Now x and y both pointing to the same object. You need to understand this. This is very peculiar. It is not same as other programming languages. Whenever you create a number, whenever you write a number in Python language, it will be created as an object, and then the object, whenever you assign it to some variable, that variable acts as a reference to the corresponding location. Okay, so only one number with same value will be created in the memory, and every variable that points to that number refers to the same memory location. You need to understand this. Okay, So this is about the basic assignment operation. And then you can perform multiple assignments also, like this. X is equal to y is equal to z is equal to 50. It works from RHS to LHS, that is from right to left. The direction is right to left. First 50 is created, and then it points to z, and then the value of z is points to y, then y to x. It is like that. Assignment operation is performed from right to left only. And you can assign multiple values to multiple variables at a time by using this syntax. According to the order given, 5 will be copied to A. Okay, 5 is copied to A, 10 is copied to B, 15 is copied to C as per the order. Okay, so if you print of A, print of B, print of C, it will display 5, 10, 15. Okay, so what you need to understand is the values will be assigned in the order in which variables appears. Okay, that you need to understand. And I hope I should stop it here. So the remaining part I will see it in the next session. Okay. So today in today's lesson we have discussed about various basic operations in Python language, the fundamentals of print function and input function for performing the reading operation and writing operation onto the screen. And then we have discussed about how variables are declared and assigned with values. Okay, we have seen some examples also. Try to practice these examples as part of your practice session. Okay, so that's all for today. So thank you all for your patient listening. See you in the next session. Thank you all.